Hey, and welcome back to Real Housewife Recaps. Today, I'm covering Below Deck Med, Season 5, Episode 7, No Mushroom for Error. Oh, poor Kiko. Let's talk about it. Okay, so we start off the episode where we left off, which is Jessica had just slammed her hand in the door. It sounded pretty bad, and Bugs was trying to help her. Bugs calls Sandy on the radio, who suggests she goes off to the hospital to get it checked out, so she takes off for the hospital. They call a preference sheet meeting, and this is where we find out about the primary and his friends that are joining the boat. I believe they said they are from Spain and they're chartering the boat. It's models and photographers and stuff like that. Now this is where Kiko starts to spiral. He finds out that they are vegan, some of them are gluten-free, and I'm sure that is a nightmare to cook for, but we'll get into that later. So Jessica comes back from the doctor. She sees Rob. She tells him that it's a fracture. She tells Hannah. She shows off her cast. She has to go up and talk to Sandy about it. Sandy says she's going to see how it goes, and she needs someone who can work. She's gonna let her see what she can do for this charter. So Kiko is continuing to spiral about the dairy and gluten-free and that he's not a vegan chef. Sandy pulls Hannah into the wheelhouse and they talk about what to do about Jessica. They're going to wait and see. Hannah has an interesting cigarette break with Kiko. I love Kiko. Don't love this scene. She's telling him to watch out for her back. I don't know about all this. I just am not a Hannah fan and I don't like her attitude at all. And I feel like she's looking for any reason to come after Bugsy. The girls sit down to have a stew meeting and Hannah is telling the girls how it's going to work with Jessica's hand, and she does say that she's gonna let Bugs pick up the slack and manage Jess, and says, I have enough on my plate. I don't need any more drama. This is Hannah's MO. If you've watched the other seasons, this is her favorite thing to do. She doesn't like to take on anything else or anything extra. She's always going to pass it off, and she continues to do that here. Then Bugs pulls Malia aside and tells her how creeped out by Pete she is, and that he's crossed a line, and Malia says that she should talk to Sandy about it. So Bugsy talks to the captain and cites the examples of Pete being a total creep. The captain handles it well and asks if she feels threatened, and she's like, no. She's just concerned because they're all in such close quarters. Captain calls Pete to the bridge and says she's considering letting him go. Says how you talk about and treat women is not okay. She talks about him having said some inappropriate things on deck and says, get your head on right and consider what comes out of your mouth. And you're lucky I'm not leaving you on the dock. Just do your job. So then we go back to poor Kiko, who is just continuing his spiral. Malia calls Pete up and tells him he's not going to be the lead deckhand anymore, that his ego and cockiness are putting the boat at jeopardy. So in fairness to Pete, he handles it in stride and says he'll think about it and change and all this. We'll see. Provisions arrive, so they all carry the stuff up to the boat. Malia explains to the deck crew what's going on with Pete and what's going on in general, and they actually seem very relieved that she's made this change. Pete radios Bugsy and does apologize for his behavior, and she seems willing to accept it and to give him another chance. So we'll see how long that lasts. Something interesting I keep thinking of is the editors said that Pete has been edited down to play a minimal role in the season since he was fired. Horrible comments and stuff he made, stuff he put online. So it just still seems like he's such a focal point for the episode. But anyway, Kiko's still struggling. He's really trying. He's worried about this vegan thing. The guests get on board. They come up dock and shake everybody's hand. Kiko's back in the galley getting ready. The guests seem to like Kiko when they meet him. And then we meet this guy, the very handsome, very douchey guy who's talking about the juice in Europe is disgusting. These guests seem high maintenance, and usually when they come off of a high maintenance charter like the last one, the guy that kept ordering oysters and was being a dick, they don't normally go right into another high maintenance guests. But we'll see. I don't know. I don't think they're all bad quite yet. There's something later that happens and we'll talk about. But so Kiko still spiraling, freaking out. Bugsy's trying to help him. She's making drinks to try to keep the guests happy. There's some confusion about some lemons that Hannah was supposed to order. So Kiko sends out this plate and they talk about how delicious the mushrooms are. That apparently comes into play later because throughout the episode they want more and more of these mushrooms. This guy asks Hannah if she can unpack him, and I kind of see both sides here. Normally I'd be like, what? That's such Ramona behavior. But they are paying so much money that I don't know that it's unreasonable for him to ask that. I don't think I would ask that because I just feel like I was being a jerk, but I don't think it's as big a deal as they made it out to be. Alex and Pete are talking, and Pete's telling Alex what happened. Alex is telling him to pull it together, and Pete says, get ready to start seeing professional Pete. Pete just has a million nicknames for himself, and it adds to his douchiness. So Jess is in unpacking the primary, and he's showing her which one to unpack. And to camera, she's kind of being weird about it, which I get, but again, he's paying a lot of money, so I don't know. I don't think she should complain quite that much about it. Hannah's trying to get the lemon straightened out as well as more mushrooms because apparently they really like Kiko's mushrooms. Bugs is really kicking butt here. She's trying to keep the guests happy. This guy's still complaining about the juice, so she offers to make something special for him. She does. He loves it, so that's good. We got Malia getting out the toys with the rest of the deck crew. They're going over the safety rules with the guests, and it looks like a beautiful spot and a beautiful day. And then this douchebag decides to take his jet ski and go up to the paddle boarders and spray them. And I just thought that was such a shitbag move. There's no reason for that. And this part I don't love. Bugsy's serving this food. It looks like ceviche to the guests. And I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't want to be served like that, I don't think. Like, after swimming and playing and all that, I'm sure you're starving, but I wouldn't want to eat on the back of the boat right after I got off the toys. So they asked for more mushrooms because it's a continuous thing. He has this weird batch of mushrooms going on here, so he has Bugsy try them. She's like, nope, they're no good, so they have to get more mushrooms. It's mushrooms, lemon, it's a whole thing. Bugsy's setting the table for dinner. They're getting ready. They're supposed to be eating at 9:30. Sandy's hovering because she's all about micromanaging this season, so she's making Kiko more nervous. It's 9:28, and while I love Kiko, he's spiraling, and he is having an issue with time management. So the guests are getting frustrated. They're asking where the food's at. And this part bothered me. So Kiko made those mushrooms that the guests were talking about because they finally got the mushrooms on board. And what does he do? I know he's trying to keep them hot, but he serves them in tinfoil. And I thought that was a very strange choice. You can see it here. He lit the underneath side of the tinfoil to keep it hot. I know it's supposed to be a cool presentation. I wouldn't want to eat my food out of tinfoil. I'd feel like I was eating leftovers. I just think it's a strange choice. So the primary's fish was not cooked correctly, so he asked to have it cooked more. Malia is showing Pete the wheelhouse and showing him how to do anchor watch. She tells him to get there 15 minutes before his shift. Doesn't mean anything yet, but I'm sure that's going to come into play probably next episode. Jess and Rob are all over each other. They're smooching. They're talking about possibly sharing a cabin, maybe switching with Kiko. So we'll see what happens there. The guests are still hungry. So Kiko apparently is not making huge portions. This causes them to freak out even more. I did feel bad for him here. He's saying he feels like shit and it's hard for him when he's feeling like this. He's very upset with himself. Then we see next time on the next episode, there's tension with the deck crew. Rob says Malia's stressing him out. The captain's pissed about the food not being taken out quick enough. The guests are saying for this kind of yacht, the food and service are lacking. Captain has a talk with Kiko about his timing issues, his food issues. It sounds like it's going to be Jess versus Bugs. I didn't really see that coming. Not sure what's going on there. But the captain ends up, sounds like, having to intervene. Maybe Jess isn't talking correctly to Bugs. And then she ends up having a talk with Hannah and says she needs her to lead. So should be an interesting episode. What'd you guys think of this one? I thought it was okay. I felt for Kiko. I actually really like him, and it stinks to see him struggling so bad. I am curious to see where this is going with the Hannah thing. I'm curious. I mean, obviously they're giving Bugs the hero edit, and I think she deserves it. I think she's doing a great job. And I'm curious to see what's up with Jess and how this goes down. So we'll see. I think it wasn't the best episode, but it kind of laid the groundwork for more stuff to come. So we'll see. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm also covering Real Housewives of New York, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and I'll be picking up Potomac when it starts up. I'm covering last season right now. And I so appreciate you guys watching. You can find me on Twitter. I'm at Real Recaps. And thank you all so much for all your wonderful comments. I enjoy reading every single one of them, and I appreciate them. And I hope you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.